Business Journal, I'm Mike Savola.
Befitting the most closely followed court battle of all time, the O.J. Simpson trial won't just be televised, but computerized as well. The defense team has hired a computer software firm called Envision to create a high-tech evidence retrieval system. It's designed to let the judge and the jury see evidence in seconds. Robert Reich is president of Envision. Mr. Reich, good morning.
Good morning to you.
This has been called kind of like a high-tech chalkboard. It's been characterized as that. Is that a fair description?
It's basic feature, sure. It's one of the basic features of it, but
okay.
It's much more powerful
Okay,
than that.
basically, how's it work, and how's it likely to be used during this trial?
Well, first, the trial presentation system was designed to be very easy to use, and it starts off really using a CD-ROM. All the evidence will be stored on CD.
Who stores it? The defense, prosecution, the state?
Actually, they'll probably both use their own system. The defense is using ours, and they'll store their evidence on the CD.
Okay. What's the advantage to being able to see the evidence on a monitor as opposed to touch it, feel it, handle it?
Well, there's many different uses for the monitor technology. I'd like to show you actually.
Go ahead, please.
First. First of all, once the evidence is put on CD, there are barcodes created for every piece of evidence. So when Mr. Shapiro is ready to bring up a piece of evidence, he'll use a 3x5 card system or a notebook system, strike the barcode, and instantly the evidence will come up on the monitor. Okay. Now, when Mr. Shapiro wants to draw attention to a certain area, he'll take a touchscreen pen and actually zoom in to that area.
All right, now what happens when, let me stop you for a second.
Sure.
What happens if I'm Judge Lancido and I say, wait a second, Mr. Shapiro, I don't want the rest of the court seeing this?
Very good. The first thing that happens is it's published or presented to Judge Ito. His screen gets it first.
He's got a monitor.
Exactly. And then there's monitors placed around the courtroom to the jury, the attorneys, the rest of the courtroom.
So he has a hot button to clear it
exactly.
for everybody else.
Exactly.
Okay.
He sees it first, and then he clears it.
Okay.
Now, once he's cleared it, again, Mr. Shapiro can take, again, the light pen, highlight specific areas, take a color device, actually draw on the document, and draw the attention of the jury. So instead of just a piece of paper being passed around the jury, this brings the evidence to life.
I understand that part of the value of this system is its ability to help all concerned understand the DNA complications. How so?
Well, possibly what could be used is a system where the actual DNA is brought up on the screen. Now, it is very complex, so what I'm going to do is actually compare that, and by using this technology, I've brought up two different DNA strands here. I could zoom in to a specific area of that DNA strand, and with the computer system, highlight and bring the jury's attention to more specific pieces of evidence.
I know I'm racing you through this, but I'm
Sure.
told the software is also capable of animation.
Yes.
How might that be used? Give us an example, if you would.
An animation is simply a scientific recreation or a computer recreation of events. It may be used to show a time table with an event, a person leaving a house and getting to the automobile with enough time or without enough time.
What do you say to those people who say, hey, wait a second, this is not really fair, because what happens is the jury sees this and tends to believe that's the only way it might have happened because they're now able to visualize it as opposed to listening to the evidence and making their own assumptions?
As you can see, animation is very powerful, and it's debated. Judge Lancido is really going to have to determine whether any piece of animation will or will not be admitted.
Not that this is your problem, but I guess what I'm asking is, does this not have the effect of warping a justice field that's supposed to be level?
Yes, and as far as we're concerned, animation is just a type of evidence that may or may not be used. It's does our company back it? We don't actually create the animation. We create the system to present it. So I feel that animation is a very useful tool, and it's really up to, in most cases, the judge to determine whether or not the evidence has been shown in the correct light.
This has been used in the Exxon Valdez trial. It's been used in the Keating trial, about 100 trials to date. Does the prosecution have to okay its use in the courtroom?
That also, a lot of times the prosecution actually brings the technology to the courtroom. In fact, the first trial that it was used in was a class action that the prosecution brought the system into the courtroom. So it depends on the litigation. Usually both sides have to agree to its use.
What else can the system do that I haven't walked through?
Well, let me just show you a couple other things. I do have some pieces of evidence that were used in the Exxon Valdez trial. Now, this is a color photograph, and again, with the touchscreen pen, I can take the tool and draw the attention of the document to the jury's attention.
If I were on trial and I were hiring Envision and Robert Reich to come on in and have my defense team use this, how much might it cost me?
Well, trials are very diverse. It'll range anywhere from $5,000 to $250,000, depending on the type of evidence needed, whether it's video, animation,
plus
color.
Plus the cost of your consultant on a daily basis to run it.
That cost is generally in the cost that I gave you, from $5,000 to $250,000.
Is this the wave of the future?
I think it's here today. I think the future of technology is actually here today, and I'm excited about it.
Robert Reich, thanks very much. Appreciate
Thank you.
the primer. We're going to come back in just a moment. There's still more ahead for a Tuesday morning, right after this.